Well, I got a bone to pick. And it's about decisions and choices that we all make. And I use in our adulthood. It's about 11:57, coming up on 11:58 in the morning. It's still November 15th, 2024. I'm confused and conflicted. It's not the political nature, no. It's the things I've been doing, and I think I've gone back in time of sorts, or else in behavior. You're growing up, you start kindergarten at a young age, or preschool at a younger age. Preschool to get yourself into kindergarten, and I did that. Wasn't quite sure why, but I did that. And a long time ago, and when I did that, excuse me, get out of here, damn bug wars. So these things are. I'm doing countdowns in my head. I had a weird ass dream just a short time ago when I woke up from a nap on this one, and this was regarding education. I'm asking kids, and I think I was running near age when I was dreaming this thing. It was weird. What are you going to do when you get out of college? Or what are you going to do when you get out of school? And it's like I've been with these kids all my life. I didn't even realize it. Then my head was trying to do a wraparound when I got it when I was waking up and trying to figure this shit out. I've spent nearly the same amount of time, nearly. Given a few more years, I would have been spending time from preschool to kindergarten, and then grades 1 through 12. Now, normally that would be about what? You're doing preschool, maybe about a year. Then there's kindergarten, another year. Don't consider them like 3 or 4 month stays, basically about a year in there. And then you got 12 years. So basically 14 years. Because I had screwed up a year of high school, because things happening at home and decisions made and affecting affecting me a great deal. When I wasn't taking school seriously enough in 11th grade anyway. That it all reflected that it went downhill. I didn't leave the campus. I was on campus, but I skipped classes to where the GPA that was supposed to be propelling me to the next grade dropped a few levels to the point where drastic changes had to be made, and I had to take a year again of 11th grade. I should have graduated back in 1984. Most of my friends went. I didn't. The few younger ones graduated along with me. But the rest of the gang that I was hooked up with, they're gone. So while I was trying to complete a year, they were going to the 12s, and then when I went into the 12s, they disappeared, gone. Or some of them actually went into continuation school to continue. But I didn't realize I spent about 15 years of my youth in an educational system and was conditioned as such. One would think one would got enough of the educational system. But no, you gotta keep pushing yourself and you gotta keep filling your head with other notions and lotions and God knows what else was going on. That if you were up there and really pushing it, maybe you could have gotten some grades of getting into a university or a junior university or let alone a community college. I was starting at the lowest ranks, community college. Let's try that one. And it's like going through school all over again, and it is school. But I didn't want to go to school. I didn't take it seriously enough. I didn't look at the college system as great next thing to go through. A great adventure. What adventure? You're sticking me in a class after class after class, and after I got out of about only 14 years of classwork, now you want me back in it again, or 14 to 15 years, or 16, if I made up the grade? I didn't drop it. I'm not talking about college. I'm talking about high school. I didn't drop out. I just skipped a few classes because I really wasn't learning much. I wasn't motivated, and I had enough issues as it is. Pile on the excuses left and right. It's like, why am I here in the first place? And then you get the slap upside the head, proverbially, and you'd redo it all over again for the 11th grade. I'm like, shit. But this time, you're not in this special program that you got into that was going to help you through it. No, because now you got to be pushed through the regular curriculum, which is the 5 days a week, not the college course like you've been doing. Like I thought it was going to be fun doing that kind of a thing. I was really dumber than dog shit. I should have been treated like everybody else, but no, I thought I was special. I was going to go through this thing. I'm going to try it out myself. What the hell? And I didn't. I didn't. A few classes were uglier in the setting when it comes down for grades. The rest of them were barely keeping them water. But there was almost no discipline in the situation. It should have been. I had enough of it all my life. This one should have been a piece of cake, right? Wrong. I really wasn't ready for this kind of educational program that I dropped out of high school decades after that. What should have worked. It was an experiment. But like some experiments, they just run their course. But now here I am in the college system, going out of high school, and seeing life as scary as hell. But maybe with that program I had, I was going to get ready for college, right? Oof, I wasn't. No, I wasn't. Because once you get out of the high school, you're thrusted into another environment that's, you think, oh my God, it's educational. Yeah, it's more educational stuff because you want those degrees, which probably leading up to better so-called jobs out there. I should have been stuck in a trade school, but I wasn't. I wasn't mechanically inclined. I didn't have the dexterity needed. I didn't have the mechanical grasp. But shit, I could build things with Lego. They would call that intelligence, but not in the real world. So in the real world, you'd go to an educational institution and you pick the dusty old tomes and books during those days. Get yourself a typewriter and stack of paper and correctable ink, notebooks. Welcome to college, boys. And then you see these topics. And you're like, yeah, when I was going through Pierce College for the first time, first time, the only time, it was back when after summer vacation was over and school started in September, or late August, early September. That's how it was. I had to earn the money to get myself in. Well, I had supplies, the rest of it, but most of it was my work of getting into a junior college, not a university, a junior college, lowest on the rank. It's like considering kindergarten. For those who couldn't cut it, if you're intelligent enough, you do the remedials. And I did the remedials. Did the remedials for math and hated it. But the only remedial I had to really work on was English, because I didn't do it, and I didn't have the energy, gusto, creativity. It's not that. It's the willingness. It's the drive. It's the thirst. I didn't have it. In school, I was just doing it by rote. Had to please the teachers. Had a right to please everybody, but it wasn't pleasing myself, and it wasn't challenging myself. And in school, you're supposed to be challenged. Well, I wasn't challenged enough. Disciplined enough, yeah, but not challenged. You had to be willing, you had to be thirsty, you had to be hungry. And yet I kept reading books. Saw the language. Okay, fine. And I could see the things happening in my head every time I kept picking up a book and I'm reading it. I'm in that environment. I could see the environment. And I liked the description of it. I wanted to be one of those writers who could write this stuff that you can see what's going on around you when you start reading the words, and you can see the environment in your head. That was the fun thing about it all. That's why I liked reading. I could see the environment. But the challenge of communicating that, to put it on paper, that could have been, and I should have been exploited like crazy. My dog's having a conniption fit. I should have been exploiting that like crazy, but I didn't. I seriously didn't. And I guess in a way I was disappointed in myself. Oh, I could learn the history stuff and sociology and try to learn the sciences. Okay, fine. Get screwed around with the damn mathematics that went in one ear out the other ear. How is this applying to me? I mean, pre-algebra and then algebra. What the hell was all about? Why was it being applied? Did anybody tell me about it? No, you just want me to go through the mechanics again, and you want me to be good at the mechanics. Tell me why. Where's the applications in it? Oh, God, I couldn't get into it. I guess I was so damn lost. I was so damn lost in the damn thing, I couldn't even figure this shit out. I take an algebra class, a pre-algebra class. I flunked the damn thing. Take another again. Flunked it again. When I was trying to take it in junior high for the first time, they were pushing people through the advanced mathematics. They called it algebra. And I'm trying to get it, and I'm asking myself, why am I doing this shit? What's the purpose of it? How is it relevant to me? No, you're supposed to learn it. Do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again. I'm like, why? Don't ask, just do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. Ah! I wonder how many kids have flunked the damn thing because they couldn't figure this shit out. It's not learning the mechanics of the damn thing. It's the intention, the reasons, the meanings, why. How is math applicable in your damn life? If I actually had math for liberal arts, that kind of training through junior high and high school, maybe I would have gotten a hell of a lot better scores. They're all worried about the damn scores. But the scores were not it. If the person wasn't interested, if the person wasn't motivated in the damn thing, it doesn't mean a damn shit. You can teach them the basics. Add, subtract, multiplication, and divide. That's it. You try to teach them how to use a checkbook. They'll survive. But advanced? You got to see the reasons why. You have to see it. You have to see the thing in front of you. Why is this important? Why do you have to do these little calculations in your head all the damn time to figure out what's going on? When you're on your own, it's one thing. When you're trying to see to the last penny, how long is it going to last before you get to the end of the month, or at least the end of the week, let alone the end of the day? You have to see the finances. You have to be like an accountant and a bookkeeper. Just how you're going to be balancing the books. You got the expenses, You got the expenditures, you got the income coming in, and you have to justify everything in columns. If I can look at it from an accounting point of view, that's one thing. Growing up and being more mature and seeing how it's applied was one thing. When you're a kid, you don't see it how it's applied unless you're going through it. But how does that help with creativity? How does that help me bring out an idea and describe it? Describe this one idea. How is it relevant? How? Why? If you're a reporter, you got the 5 basics. Where, what, when, why, how. 5. In creativity, you're letting your passions go free. You can make a plotting sentence, but you have to describe it in detail and colorful words to bring out what you're trying to make the reader see. And I didn't take that into full account. I didn't have enough motivation in the situation, despite the fact I probably had a couple of teachers still trying to bring that out into me. I could try talking about the topic we were looking at. Say, for example, we came across a story in a science fiction class. We came across Brave New World. How do we describe that to each other? The geopolitical world, that's one thing. But when you're in high school, you don't see the political. You're reading the book and you're trying to figure out classifications of people, taking drugs. Where's the perspective? And you're trying to see where the perspective is by reading the book and trying to see a few examples. You get older and you see more of the examples left on, it scares the crap out of you. It does me, because I'm seeing it too much. I'm saying it too much. We're not into the test tube situation, but we're getting ourselves classified, and we're taking drugs and anything else to make us cope with life, either commercially or medicinally through the pharmacies, which means you have to go to the doctors for that kind of stuff. I hate being a test tube kid. I can see it because I have perspective now. But back then as a kid, I didn't. I didn't see the world as I'm seeing it right now because I didn't have the maturity, perspective, wisdom, nothing. I just got out of most of my life out of a school situation, thrusted into a college, and I'm trying to figure this shit out. Okay, fine. I have a very spirited and energetic history professor that'll teach me a little bit about English history, and he's using whatever kind of creative talents he's got to let us live it out. Okay, fine. Or else you have another guy trying to talk about cloak and dagger and murder and this thing and that thing about more of English history, and it was putting me to sleep. I had professors in the college that was in the lab all the time and tell you about geology in the text. But then there was another class with a field geologist that would show you that. Show you, explain. You had to see this thing to begin with, to believe in it. Hang on. Being a caregiver to a dog right now, and she's not quite so sure what she wants to do at this point. I'm letting her make the choice and the decision. I'll keep walking. College teen would still have a problem with that one. What's expected out of him? Good grades, but you're supposed to be pleasing all these people left and right. Yeah, but where's pleasing yourself? You're going to be a creative writer. I know I wanted to learn how to write more creatively, but I couldn't get into the classes necessary for that. And I really wanted to do that for myself. So I took every other kind of mechanism regarding English. My major was English still. And I wanted to see what it was like concerning about literature on every portion of it. Except for the one thing that still mattered to me the most. To be an effective writer. To have the drive, to have the gun is to be able to put your work in there and then see what the hell happened. I tried to use the creative way in certain spots when I was taking classes just to see if the professors would react, and so would the students. Most of the time they would. Other times it's like, this is not part of the curriculum. God. I'm looking back at the years, how many times I've been going to college in my adulthood. I mean, I spread. I'm doing a figuring on this one here. And since 2015. And I'm taking the year effect. 9 years. Now keep this in mind. It's not consistent on it. But because there had been a semester or two I've taken off sporadically for whatever reason. If I had continued, maybe I would have been out of here this year or last year. But I hadn't been. I hadn't crammed classes like I should have when I was a lot younger and able and had a fresher brain, fresher mind, but a lot of inexperience. I got more experience, maturity right now, and I don't know if I have that much wisdom, but I'm still working on that one. And I should have been out of here because I thought I could have been out of here, but no, I've been stretching it out like crazy now. It still scares me. And I'm seeing today's politics changes things left and right. After I'm going through, a dream analysis of why I'm having some of those kind of questions, I'm asking myself for this time. Am I ready for a bigger push? Am I ready for the biggest push in my life of going back to college? Of actually getting into a class that I can actually push myself through that's maybe creative? Can I do this? Can I, honest to God, do this? Yeah, it looks like November 17th is going to be a pain in the ass day. I guess systems crashing. Scheduled to crash. Oh, that's going to be fun, isn't it? So ITS is trying to warn us that we're going to have systems upgraded one way or another. I'm going through the class schedule for next term. For me, it's not the intersession. It's the spring term. And I want to see if they actually have creative writing that I should have been taking all this time. I've had all the prerequisites. Nearly all of them anyway. Critical thinking and literature and research. But creative writing? Shit. Creative writing and poetry. But they do require you to walk in for that one. I take an American and English literature. Not quite, but I'm going to be doing the world literature next. African American studies would be nice. I mean, I'm studying everyone else's works, but not the one that matters the most. And the question is, what would be the one that matters the most? Well, let's just say that I wanted to expand upon things. And college, as I'm discovering more and more, yeah, you're discovering everything else, but The creativity is trying to come up with the arguments necessary for pros and cons and making your point left and right. First, you write a thesis statement, and then you have to start with supporting facts and figures in different chunks, coming out with a conclusion. And how many pages you're supposed to be writing about that one? And this is for all the social studies and liberal arts studies that you're doing. Meantime, there have been courses that actually offered where you do things with um, programs a lot more advanced than what I'm working with right now, of doing some creative, offensive audio visual effects where these things come together and you're showing the professor how cute and cutesy you are. Back in '85, it wasn't like that. Unless, of course, you're going to be bringing in your damn poster boards and showing them that way. But with the computers, hell, we can do a hell of a lot more in that one. And then you got artificial intelligence to do the thing for you. That sucks because it takes away the human adventure, it takes away the creativity. It takes away something that I was still trying to get out of it. Now, Ray Bradbury, when he was one of those writers out there who didn't go through the college system, he went through public education, but he always considered that college was almost basically like a leech. It leaches something out of your creativity. Well, that's why he stuck in libraries for about a decade, but still writing his own stuff without it. That was his own way, his own style. These days, we've got, we have to keep pounding keyboards and maneuvering mouses and pieces and styluses to make things come alive. But we're trying to use our brains left and right on that one. But I'm still looking at it as if I'm still going back through preschool, kindergarten, all the way through 12th grade again. Spending about 15 years in it? I mean, how does that work for me? Came in 2015. I was basically about plus 15 years in that damn thing. It'll be about 2030. And right now it's 2024. I got 6 more years to complete until I get to the level where I was at. I did about 15 years when I was at the age of 5. And I got out of the education system at the age of 19. If I hadn't taken out that 1 year, I've just completed it, I would have gotten out in '84, but I would have had 14 years. Okay, so we'll work on that one there. 2029. Of course, I had to do dancing on this one. Dancing on the keyboards, trying to figure that one out. I couldn't figure out a year subtracted from 2030, so it'll be 2029. My God, 5 years from now. Is my brain going to be still working during that time? And I'm 58. So let's do the math on that one without doing the calculations on this one. My God, I'll be in my 60s on this one. Just trying to get through community college. I'm not talking about university level. I mean, shit, you're talking about most of your life in an educational system. And shit, you go through a community college and maybe university, but if you're lucky enough, you jump straight to 4 years of university level 1 until you get to the larger university. That's another 4 years right there. My God, how long were you supposed to be in there? "14 years of public education, and you spent about, what, another 8 or more years than that?" I couldn't deal with it. There's no way I would have been able to deal with it, unless, of course, I jumped the line somehow, and I didn't. So I'm like one of those regular people trying to struggle through what I'm struggling through right now. Life issues, such as I'm taking care of a dog, it's elderly lady, and fussing. I'm dealing with outside issues that are slowing me up a lot more. Politics is one of those damn things, and when you affect my Pell Grant, I'm going to be screwed on that one, aren't I? Disabled, you're going to be screwing over people left and right. And not to mention, I got to worry about homelessness situation just in case. If the Social Security disability gets screwed over on that one, am I still going to have money coming in necessary to keep a roof over the head? Let alone have cell service, let alone have power, let alone have food coming in. The things we're worrying about right now, we didn't have to worry about back then, but we still had to worry about them anyway. How do you pay for college back then? If we couldn't qualify for the loans, you had to scrape the money somehow, which meant you worked, you worked, you worked. You built up a amount to get into a junior college. And if your grades were high enough into junior college, then maybe you could have bounced if you're lucky enough to get a scholarship from the junior college to get into a larger university. And that never happened for me. I kicked myself on that one, but I guess I wasn't ready for that kind of shit, was I? No, because I had to work my ass off like crazy, like everybody else did. Realized I wasn't special. I was among one of those other people. I was among the little people, and I'm not talking about. I'm talking about size. I'm talking about those who couldn't cut it. I'm gonna put this on pause again. I'm on a ranting and raving, rambling here. Okay, conclusion. We're all being educated on what things in life are supposed to be, or should have been, could have been, would have been. But we're also being educated on what is, what will be, what can be. And no matter how long it takes, our journey never ends. The education never ends. I mean, educational institutions, one thing, yeah, but in everything else in life, I'm still reeling over that dream I had this morning when I was taking my morning nap. How long I had been. But I was also getting work experience education when I screwed up into college as a youth. Discovering that letters meant something, especially when you're working, because if you didn't have the academic behind you, you didn't have anything. But I was gaining work experience in other things, and I was gaining experience in work training. And education never stopped. And then when I got to a point where I couldn't do the work anymore, I went back into the collegiate. I couldn't do the university because I'm not there, so I'm just hanging out with a college, with a community college. One day I'll be finished, one way or another. And when I do, maybe I'll be ready for the next adventure. I shouldn't have to worry how long I've been in college. I shouldn't have to be worried how long I've been in an educational system since I was the age of 5. We're all in the educational system of a sorts when we are born, and our brain starts to absorb everything new. Never stops. Of course, the systems may change a little bit. Let's face it, we're all in a system one way or another, and either we marvel at it, or we're confused and conflicted, or we're just like, I don't know what that next thing will be, that next emotion or thought pattern. For me, just to push it on. And keep pushing until something happens.